Hello and welcome to this reading. Okay, we are live now. Okay, that's good. Welcome to this reading, which is going to be looking at the energy that we're experiencing with this 22222 portal. I think there's another 2 in there. But what you need to know about this portal is that it is a heightened time for manifestation and calling in what you want. And a way to approach that is to, rather than kind of focusing on what you don't have and thinking, oh, this is what I want to manifest. I want to manifest this money, but focusing on the money that you currently feel that you don't have, is to switch the energy to how you would be feeling if you already had the money or the things that you want to manifest. So it's almost like a chance to kind of ride a wave. So the more you're kind of focusing in lack, you're likely to miss the kind of opportunities or things that might take you to where you want to go. And the more that you can kind of move in that direction as if you already have it, the more likely you are to be able to catch the wave and kind of bring it in quicker for yourself. If that makes sense. But let's pull some cards and we'll see what's coming through. But that's kind of a kind of a way to approach what you're manifesting anytime. But just when we have these kind of astrological, it's just kind of like it's sort of, there's a kind of opening where it's kind of, it makes it just a little bit more possible. That's the kind of mindset or approach you can have anytime. But when these, we kind of get these things saying, oh, it's this or it's this in in astrological terms, which might not be how you live your life the rest of the time. It's just kind of an awareness that, oh, this is the kind of time to kind of really focus, or really refocus on what I actually want, and making sure you're putting your energy into the positive towards what you want, rather than kind of focusing on the negative. Because obviously if you're focusing on the negative, you're just kind of confirming, I don't have it, it's not here yet, and it's kind of like you're going against yourself. So let's see what comes through for this reading. So we have okay. I'll just let the cards and then I'll go through the messages. So at the moment, the space that you are in currently is, the card that came through is how you're feeling about yourself, is the Breathe card came out. So this is, to me, actually takes a deep breath. This is literally the feeling of kind of needing to slow down and kind of come back to this place of feeling centered and grounded, and not denying your current circumstances. That's what it says to me. So this is kind of, and not making your current circumstances mean something that they don't about yourself. So this is how you feel about yourself right now. So this is radical acceptance of where you are currently, and coming to this place of, I radically accept where I am right now. Because what happens so often is we want to create something new, and we're focused on the new, and we're focused on how much better it is going to be when we have the new, and we kind of want to get rid of the old as quickly as possible, and we send all this energy of the old being bad and it meaning something about us, the situation that we have been in, wanting to dismiss it and get rid of it because it feels uncomfortable, because we've got some kind of association between what we have created thus far and what that means about the self, about you as a person. And it's kind of wanting to, and the thing is that what you've created so far, that is created from a part of yourself. So when you're trying to kind of get rid of it as quickly as possible, you're also dismissing a part of yourself. And that's causing a kind of split in your energy, as it were. So you're trying to release it rather than dismiss it, if that makes sense. So say you're in a job where you really don't feel happy. That job, you came to that place for a reason, that you are learning lessons and it is serving some kind of purpose. And when you approach that with gratitude and honoring why you're in that job and all the rest of it, you can then release it and release whatever patterns it is. Maybe you're not getting paid enough, or maybe you're not being treated very fairly, whatever it is. But the more you can kind of honor that journey that brought you to that place and accept that it has served a purpose, but you're now moving on to something else. You're kind of transitioning. You're transmuting the energy rather than trying to get rid of energy, because you can't get rid of energy. You can just change. It just changes form. So where you are right now, it feels to me that there is this real kind of sense of, I need to kind of take some time to just breathe and actually really accept where I am right now. And also to accept the good things, to not get so caught up in that everything is a certain way, and to kind of just look at things from a wider perspective. And you kind of do that by coming to this kind of slow down place, this centered, grounded place, and actually allowing yourself to properly breathe. Breathe it all in and then breathe out anything that isn't serving you. And taking this kind of whole stance to things rather than, focusing on there's an aspect of something, I hate this, and putting all this energy of like, I don't want this, and kind of just showing it, or those parts of yourself, some compassion, so you can release what you don't want. And that is going to kind of make it so much easier for the energy to then kind of create space for the new to come in, rather than trying to just kind of push things away from you, because that's kind of, then you're also likely to be pushing away the things that you do want as well. In terms of what you want the most in this moment, you've got serendipity, and this feels to me that this is kind of, when I said about kind of catching that wave, you're really hoping that it's going to be your time to have this different experience, this sort of lucky feeling of things finally now coming together. And I think the way that you kind of usher that in is by showing that you are actually ready for the things that you ask for. Because it's one thing saying, I want this, I want this, I want this. But can you honestly say that you have done your part of getting ready for this new thing? So say if it's a new relationship, are you actually kind of primed to open up yourself and your emotions and your life to another person? If it's an amount of money, are you actually ready to manage a larger sum of money? If it's, I hate my job, I want to do this, are you actually ready to embark on a different journey? So there's this need for having this kind of lucky break is when you come back to this kind of quiet space of breathing, you create the space to give yourself the answers of, okay, what would that version of me be doing? If I want to kind of go to the next level in my business, what would that version of me be doing? So it's kind of meeting the universe part way. Like the universe will take you, but you have to kind of position yourself in order to kind of take flight, to catch that wave, to move. So it's kind of anything else that's going on, it's kind of coming back to the space of focusing on what it is that you actually want, and then putting yourself in a position where you can actually experience it. In terms of your fears, you've got to be fair. And to me, this kind of says that perhaps the feeling behind this wanting this kind of lucky break is that there maybe have been things that have not been fair for you, and how it's kind of like a sort of how a thing's going to work out. It's a wanting to know the how. And the thing is that you don't need to know how this appears for you. You just need to position yourself. You just need to get yourself there. You don't need to worry about how the universe is going to deliver this gigantic four-leaf clover above you and take you away. You just need to position yourself. So kind of thinking that, you know, I could do all this and perhaps it's not going to be fair. Perhaps it's not going to work out. I know there's different interpretations of this card, but this is what's coming through, is perhaps it's not going to work out how I think it is. And I think you need to kind of open yourself up to the possibility that it could actually be better than you imagined. Whatever it is that you're asking for, you're holding space to create that as your intention, but the way that it actually manifests could be bigger than you can currently see. But the more that you kind of hold this kind of energy of, well, I don't want to kind of do it if it isn't going to work out how I think it's going to, you're actually kind of blocking this coming along. So it's really kind of getting a lot of clarity in this process and kind of understanding what it is that you actually need to do or who you need to be to move forward, and allowing the universe to meet you and take care of everything else. Because you can't hold everything at the same time. And you don't have to, you're not supposed to. That's what it says to me. You can't hold everything to keep things under this image of fair and also kind of fly off on your giant leaf. So it's kind of just taking responsibility for what you need to and allowing the rest of it to unfold. In terms of honey, so this is this kind of this represents, you know, a rainbow. This represents everything that you're wanting to create for yourself. It's just kind of there. It's not as far away as you think it is. It's not just for other people. It's not something that you're not capable of doing. It's just right there. This, when you look at this picture, you can't see where this kind of leads to, but everything that you want to create for yourself is it's so close. But you will push yourself further away if you kind of focus too much on this kind of, this is how it has to be energy. And when you're in this phase, you can see this. And the reason that you can see this is because you can create it. So this is kind of the focus, when I said at the beginning about focusing what you want and putting your energy there, especially when we have kind of times where it's like, a heightened time energy wise, you can kind of move that much closer to it. It's just there. It is possible for you. And that's a choice to direct your energy and to be kind of doing whatever it is that you do, or showing up as if it's just there, not worrying about the how things look right now, not thinking, oh well, if this is how things are now, they can never be like this. Not putting your energy, like really being very conscious and intentional about where you put your energy and where you put your focus, because it is so close. And all the things that you're hoping to create, the universe is like, yeah, I've got that. Yeah, you can have that. Yeah, that's possible. There's nothing that's been withheld from you. And that's what I see there. That's what I think about this. It's kind of everything. Your happiness, your joy, your abundance, it's all like, that's all possible. In terms of what's going against you, you've got loyal heart, which in this instance says to me, or what I think about this is, the thing that's kind of going to make this seem not possible is where you're blocking your own heart and what actually true for you. This is, what you're creating. This is the energy of kind of letting go. She's only holding on with one hand. She's got nothing beneath her. It's kind of actually completely open to the journey. And where are you not kind of fully opening your heart to this? This is the energy of kind of what is the purest thing for you, what's true to your heart, what your soul actually came here to experience. And if there's part of you that is not fully trusting that, and that might be because you're kind of really focused on your kind of human experience to date and wanting to kind of control things so things don't go wrong, whatever that is, and kind of keeping your kind of holding some stuff back. The universe is like, yeah, everything you asked for, I've got it. You can have it. It's all here. It's kind of like the equivalent of going into the Amazon warehouse or wherever other online retailer and going, yep, we've got that, we've got everything. Everything's kind of there. But it's kind of, even in this image, she's got her hands in front of her heart space. So it's kind of, what is it that is in that space that you're kind of worried to let out or be known? Because this is kind of what comes from being really open-hearted. And if you have got blockages around the heart space, and this comes up with nearly everyone I ever work with, it's so much that the heart space is kind of, when you think about your energy and energy travels through you, your heart is kind of in the middle of that journey for energy. And when you have a blockage there, it kind of stops you being able to kind of receive everything. Very simply put, here there's keys here. So if you keep part of your heart kind of, if you're kind of saying, oh yes, this is what's on my heart, but I've kind of got part of it still locked and kind of kept hidden, you're not going to be able to receive everything that you've asked for. Because the universe will just think, oh, well, you kind of didn't really, you said you wanted it, but it wasn't kind of a full body, full energy, full energetic, yes, I definitely do. It was just kind of, oh, you just said, but it was kind of that kind of like, yeah, I want some more money. It wasn't like a full, like felt kind of yes to everything. In terms of your future outcome, you've got to clean it up. So this is the message about the things. I mean, although it looks like doing the housework, this is, and that might be helpful. It's more the energetic clearing, the clearing of whatever it is that kind of stays in your heart space, but you don't let out. And by not letting it out, you don't let anything in, or don't let enough back in. And that happens for a number of reasons. It happens from times where you've had that feeling of being heartbroken. Because the thing is, and it's kind of ironic, that your heart can't be broken. It's an integral part of your body and your functioning as a person. You kind of, your heart kind of is one of the last things to kind of stop working. Your heart isn't ever broken, but it's a story that we kind of create to explain situations, and then we get really caught on the story. And I think this is calling for you to clean up those stories, to be kind of like, actually, my heart is still beating and it never stopped. My heart has always been there for me, and the things I've told myself about the people who've broken my heart or situations that have are actually just stories. And I can bring myself back to this really quiet, calm place, and I can choose to release those stories or rewrite them or kind of put them in a box and store them away and never have to look at them again, and create a whole brand new story of what I want to experience. Something that actually matches what is on my heart, not based on what other people have done, but what's actually true for my heart and what's important to me. And the more you can do that, the more this is just going to flow in for you, because the universe is like, it's right here. It's right here for you. Anytime you want it, it's here. It's yours. It's done. And if you could only see how close it is, you would just show up for yourself in this really different way. If you just could see, if you could kind of look, take this different perspective and kind of look, and the universe is like, you don't have to worry about doing this because I'm doing this for you. If you could see from my perspective, you could see that everything you're asking for is right in front of you. It's so close. You'd kick yourself if you knew how close it was. And that's kind of, I've never quite had, and I can kind of see a visual of that as well. And it's kind of this, when you remember that everything is happening all at once. So when we're kind of talking about this portal and this energy surge, it's kind of like so many things have kind of fallen away, or opposing energies have kind of diminished slightly, that it's just, if you could see, it's almost like being in a film where they've got the what's a film where it happens, where someone's being interrogated by the police and they have that kind of one-way mirror thing, and the person, I can't remember which film it is, but there's a scene I can see where the person, they're watching the breakup room or the interrogation room, and the person that's been interrogated comes right up to the glass, and they're so close to the person that's observing them, and it's like they can't make contact, but the presence is so felt. And that's probably kind of done in a slightly more sinister way in the film, but this is that kind of, that's how close it is. The things that you want, they're so close, and the glass is almost like just an illusion, because you know when they're in that room, they know that there's somewhere where people are watching or observing. They know there's that dynamic going on. So in some ways, it's kind of like an illusion. And if it wasn't there, you would be literally right in the thing that you're calling in. That's how close it, and I can feel that really strongly. That's how close. That's how close it is. On the bottom of the deck, we had the here and now card. So that's kind of the, I suppose that kind of echoes that sentiment, that is on the side of that glass. You've kind of got the past, and then you've got the future. And it's choosing which way to face. Just looking forward, kind of looking at nothing. So it's choosing it, which way you're going to face. So when we were talking about those old stories about the things that have kind of caused you the heartbreak, you can keep looking at the past and keep reliving the past, which a lot of life actually is reliving past energy. It's why you have that feeling of the same thing happens to me over and over. It's why you can't ever seem to break out of things. It's because you're reenacting the same story. That story of the person that kind of caused you the initial heartbreak. It's kind of like that story happens and it's a tragedy. And then your psyche kind of reenacts it to kind of look at it from all these different angles. So you see elements of that story repeat in your relationships and in your career moves and in your money, even with other family members, with your friendships. You see a recurring theme of that same story being played out in a variety of forms. And once you become really conscious of that, you can kind of decide that, okay, well, I'm the main character of this story, and I've done this kind of slightly tragic, and maybe it's kind of taken on a life of its own, and it's almost like you've had different directors come in, and one director's kind of done it in a kind of quite sort of dry humor sense. Another one's made it into more of a rom-com, and it's not as sort of tragic as the initial story. There's these different perspectives that have come through, but you get to the point where you're like, okay, yeah, we've done that. I kind of want to live the character of me wants to go and have this different experience. And that very much comes from choosing where you're putting your energy. And as I say, if you keep looking at the past, that's what's going to keep showing up for you. And I kind of sense that you maybe, just maybe, have you've kind of, that story. It's like, yeah, okay, I don't need to, it's a great story. It's got its merits. There's lots of things that were learnt from it, but I don't need to see it again or experience it again. So let's just get a couple of other messages. And this is obviously, this is a general message. So I do offer one-to-one readings, and I do purpose readings, which is really looking into your kind of soul gifts and what you're kind of here for, and how to translate that into your actual life, and how to bring those gifts forward. Or I offer kind of oracle messages where we go into your situation in more detail. So this is these are general messages, but this is a strong energy. It's a strong energy of really getting clear on what it is that you need to do to create what you want. And there's so many avenues that you can get this kind of guidance, and sometimes it's just, you can kind of think, yeah, I kind of heard that, and then sometimes you just hear that message from someone at a particular point in time, and it just hits home, and you're just like, oh, okay. It was like a kind of someone slowly tapping in a nail, and each little tap got it closer to being kind of flush with the wood or whatever. And then just that one tap, oh, it's done it, and it's perfect. And it's at that point where that kind of the information kind of it lands, as it were, and you're like, oh, okay, I get it. I've been kind of listening to stuff about energy. I've been listening to stuff about manifestation and energy and all these things, and it never kind of quite made sense to me. And for some reason, sometimes you just hear something and you're like, okay, I get it. And it activates something in you, and it clears something. It's like the moment where we've been so hung up on something for such a long time, thinking, oh, why is it like this for me? And then we hear something, or it just kind of, it ignites something. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, I know what to do now. I've been kind of in this limbo time, this period of limbo for all this time, thinking and thinking and thinking and not knowing how to move. And then all of a sudden something comes along and you're just like, okay, I know. I don't need to spend any more time thinking. I'm ready. And that is always kind of my intention for any reading I do here on my channel. So if you like this reading and it resonates, please feel free to like and subscribe to my channel. But it's the intention to help you move closer to that point where it makes sense. You know what to do next. Because otherwise, you can just spend a long old time in reflection mode, in thinking mode. And when that download comes through, often you kind of think, oh, wow, I wish I hadn't spent so much time thinking. So let's get another message to go with this and see what comes through. Oh, wow. So this is combination of a vision. So this this kind of fits perfectly. These cards are so beautiful, but it's also kind of, you're at the center of everything that it is that you want to create for yourself. And this is a long-term creation. This is not just kind of a whimsical idea. This is the transformation that is going to create what you actually want for yourself. She's completely focused on that. There's all this other stuff around her, but she's completely focused on her transformation. As I said, this is something that will grow and grow and grow year after year, getting stronger and more rooted and more grounded and more stable and sustainable. So this is not just kind of do some meditating because it's a good thing to do, or do some energy work, or investigate what might be kind of blocking you. It's not just doing these things just because it's like, oh, this is just something to do. This is what's going to lead you, doing whatever kind of works for you, doing that work that's going to get you to this place of, this is what I've grown. I took this initial leap forward to what I wanted, and I was completely unfixed to anything. I didn't have stability or anything kind of keeping me in one place. And I took all of this, and this is what I grew from it. Everything. Each of these kind of butterflies is like, it represents everything that you could want for yourself. Okay, and underneath we had, to go with that, we had bountiful harvest. You can't make this up. Like, it doesn't matter how much you shuffle the cards, always the right card comes through. This is, what's coming from this. It's everything. It's whether you're just, whether you're not even into energy that much and you're kind of like, why are people talking about this portal? It's when you allow yourself to sit and feel and tune into yourself and clear, and have just having the awareness that maybe I've got some old stories that I've been kind of playing out and they're not really helping me so much. There's just so much available to you. But again, and this message comes out quite a lot, I found, and it comes up a lot for my clients as well, is really honouring the heart space, really honouring. And again, that's accepting all of it, accepting the things that feel kind of heavy, accepting all of it. And from doing that, you'll be able to release the things that don't need to be there anymore. And there's just so much you can create from that. I think that's a beautiful message, so I'm going to leave that there. If you like this message, then please feel free to like or subscribe, and I shall see you on the next reading.